Hello, this is a Leshark and Friends
And Russell.
and Russell podcast. And in today's show, we're talking to superstar DJ, music producer, nightclub producer, and former record store owner, Russell Stainer. Russell started his music journey in Brighton in the 1980s as a DJ and then opened a record store just so he could have access to all the latest music. He went on to manage and produce some of the biggest nightclub nights in the area before taking the advice from a friend, packing up most of his vinyl collection into boxes and heading out to Thailand, with a few years in Samui before finally coming to Phuket. Enjoy the show! Welcome to the podcast. That's it. Done.
Oh, we're on.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Oh, okay, cool. Brilliant.
Thank you for joining us on the podcast. Russell.
Yes.
DJ. No. See, now we should have put down rules, shouldn't we?
This is gonna be like an airplane moment. Roger. Over.
Can't you just go with your Tinder nickname or
What's your
what's your Tinder nickname?
What's your Tinder name?
I don't have one
Why not?
because I'm not on Tinder.
Why not?
Are you on
'Cause
the
I missed
are you on
that
the dog
boat.
version?
No.
Yeah. Is there a dog version of
Is
Tinder?
there a dogging version?
No. Well, there probably is a dogging version, but actually a bark version of Tinder. That's an idea. We should.
Oh, God, just give us your grinder one then.
Yeah. Oh, that one. Yeah.
The Stainmeister. Russell Stainer. What is your DJ name?
Well, actually, no. I produce under
COVID.
under Sons of David, but
But what was your original DJ
I
name?
just use my own name. I didn't come up with anything plastic, fantastic, or.
So did you call yourself DJ Russell Stainer or just DJ
Yeah,
Russell?
It was,
And after
it
a
was
while,
Russell
everyone's like,
Stainer.
"So, mate,
Yeah.
we've hung up for a bit. We got to know what's your real name." You know.
Actually, I need to check my birth certificate
Yeah.
for that. Yeah. So, like
Sons of David. That's your production.
that's what I produce
yeah.
under. Yeah.
Okay.
So my productions are under that.
But so when you,
Hence, my father is called David. So that's.
I see what you did there
I'm
because you're
assuming
like the
you've got
son
brothers.
of him.
Yeah, but
And because it's sons, you've got
sons,
brothers. I'm taking
yeah.
it.
No, I just wanted to feel that I was loved by the family.
DJ Russell Stainer, a producer, DJ, singer, songwriter. I just threw that out there, just hoping that you are a
I do
singer.
a bit of singing, but only when I've had a few beers. Karaoke. You might catch me at karaoke from time to time.
Where do you go for your tapikoki?
Well, we used to go locally. Actually, we used to go locally here. I never really did it back home, but
Did you really go karaoke?
yeah. Christine likes it. My other half, that's my other half, Christine. She likes it, and obviously
Is she a good singer?
Actually, she is. Yeah, she actually is. It's yeah. I wouldn't tell her to her face. Well, I probably have now.
You
haven't
have
I?
now,
I've just told her. But yeah, no, she's pretty good. So she likes to do the odd Adele. And, obviously,
that's brave.
yeah,
That's big.
Yeah. But they're a similar size now. Adele's
Is she?
She lost a bit of weight.
Well, which one? Hold on, because
Adele-
Adele used to be
a proper.
pork chop.
She was a unit, wasn't she?
Yeah.
But,
A unit.
She
yeah,
was, she was definitely
I've not
MFI.
I've
Yeah.
not heard that for a while.
yeah, but
That's great.
yeah.
Are
but
you
now
saying your missus is a unit then, or was a unit, or
No. What I'm trying to say is, if you let me finish, is that obviously Adele, she's been in the press recently. She's lost loads of weight.
is she?
Yeah. She's
Oh.
actually looking half fit.
Congratulations, Adele. Bless you. How long have you been on the island for?
So in Phuket now, this is my 6th year of being in
But
Phuket.
Thailand then as a whole.
Coming up for 9.
Okay.
So 3 years in Koh Samui prior to that. So I was there for 3 years.
So what was the reason that you came to Samui?
Actually, initially it was I'd had a number of friends that were sort of off and on, sort of staying in Samui for longer periods of time. I came out for a few holidays, had a really good time, got into a bit of DJing, which was nice.
Were you a DJ before that?
Yeah, so I started back in 1988.
Right. Okay.
All right, now
Rewind.
let's go back now. This is where we.
That's before Jay was born. Yeah.
That's very kind of you. I'll take that. I was going to say this is where the clocks start going backwards, you know, and you get that whirlwind. So back in. That's when you first started DJing.
So, started in '88.
What got you into DJing?
Drugs,
alcohol, sex.
Yeah, not in any particular order, actually.
But pretty much all at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, my parents have always they've been big music fans. So Dad was, Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, etc. Mum was more Diana Ross, that type, more disco, ABBA and stuff like that. So I've always been exposed to it as a young kid, playing the albums and stuff.
Personal question, and we shouldn't ask a lady this. How old are you now?
I'm now just turned 50.
Hey.
Shut the front door, really?
Yeah, just turned 50. Yeah,
you're looking good for 50, mate.
Actually, it was a lockdown celebration, so there wasn't too much going on, but it was.
It was like, yay!
I'm planning to do it next year.
Okay.
So effectively, I'm still 49 in my mind because I haven't had a proper birthday send off.
Oh, bless you.
Yeah.
So whereabouts were you grew up in the UK?
So born in Bournemouth on the south coast.
All right.
Nice sandy beach.
Yeah.
Then my parents moved to just outside Brighton, and I spent most of my sort of childhood there. So basically south coast of England. That's where I sort of mainly spent my time.
Nice.
As I say, got into DJing around about '88, and then I've with a couple of my mates. We started doing parties and stuff, which actually that expanded quite well
on the vinyl.
During the 90s, yeah, on the vinyl, yeah, dragging 250 records around to clubs and stuff. That's hence my long arms.
Yeah.
What were you playing at those times? What was the music you was into?
Club classics.
Well, no, I mean when I first started, I suppose the rave scene was coming through, so there was a mixture of this sort of acid house sort of style, and then but I think for me more predominantly when I got into it, it was more of that sort of Italian style house that started to come through. So big pianos, that more uplifting sort of vibe, and we sort of pushed on with that. Yeah, but and then we sort of moved through the 90s into that sort of more euphoric side. And then I opened. What I did was with one of my mates, we decided that we just couldn't get enough of vinyl, so we decided to open a DJ only record shop, which we did in the early 90s.
In Brighton?
Yeah, just outside actually, called Pure Plastic Records, and we continued down that road for about 11 years.
Wow!
Didn't make any money, but my record collection grew.
It's huge.
It's grew. Yeah. I think at the last count I was about. Before I'd sort of moved it 3 or 4 times with my house moves and stuff, it was about 5,000 tracks. Wow. So.
And you still got all those?
Unfortunately not, no. Oh. What I did do is a good friend of mine who I knew would look after the collection, he took, when I decided to make the final move here, it was just too big to ask people to look after, and like my parents and stuff, they didn't have the space.
Yes, I have space in that.
So really close mate of mine, Darren, he took the collection along with my Technics and everything else. And then what I did was I just filtered out the really classic stuff, and I've got several boxes of that, which is distributed between a couple of mates. My mum's loft is still pretty full with vinyl. So that's that. And we had this promotion running for almost 20 years. And we sort of run alongside, if people are interested or know, but we pretty much started at the same time as Cream in Liverpool, and then we ran that for 20 years plus at various venues, sort of guesting all over the place, Ministry of Sound, and we were Lakota in Bristol, and we were taking it on the road basically.
Nice.
So you were so your record shop, you took that round as a promotional kind of
Pure Plastic was really a tool for us to stay up to date with the music. Obviously, the idea was to try and make a bit of money, but it's not. There's not huge margins in records and stuff. Well, it wasn't back then anyway. But Sitting Pretty was my main sort of outside promotion. That was our event that we used to run. Initially, we started off doing the bank holidays. We were probably one of the first people in this. To do like a bank holiday Sunday, which people hadn't tried before.
What do you mean by the event? Talk us through what you were doing.
So basically, we would sort of take over a venue, bring in international DJs. We'd set it up with a load of decor, back then it was quite unusual. We were bringing in club dancers and club acts, stilt walkers and stuff like that inside the clubs. So it was actually what then happened was that then seemed to sort of run through to the sort of Ibiza side, and clubs there started doing it. But actually we've been doing it for a good sort of couple of years before they even picked up on it. So yeah.
And what
ahead of our time?
And how long were you? Because you said you did Ministry of Sound. Everyone's heard of even the
Ministry. Yeah,
I mean that's huge.
Yeah, that was quite an interesting time for us because the Ministry of Sound at the time, they didn't really have many outside promoters that were coming in. They had their own Ministry had their own nights that they were doing that were specialist, focused around record labels or whatever. We got the opportunity to take over their second room, and I think there'd been a number of people that had done it at the time and had done okay, but it was, you know, the feedback that we were getting from the Ministry was, look, lads, we probably don't think, you know, you're going to do that well with it and so on. But we actually took over 400 people from Brighton via coaches up to the Ministry. And it was quite an interesting night because when we turned up, the girl that was running the door, you know, some of these clubs, they can be a little bit snobby about situation and stuff, and she was like, oh, you know, let's see how many people you haven't brought with you this week and blah blah blah, and she was a bit it was a bit antagonistic really. And then the first coach rolled up and she said, oh, you manage one coach then? I said, no, we've got another 6 of these.
Jog on, love.
So yeah, it was good, and we had a great time during the 90s, putting on the parties and stuff. And we, you know, for the South Coast, we were so obviously Brighton, which it's a renowned city and stuff. They were always doing stuff. We were actually doing events just outside Brighton as well. In particular, Worthing. We took over Worthing Pier, became our mainstay, if you like. You know, and we introduced, like for instance, one of our first event that we put on was just after there was a clampdown on outside events, raves and stuff. They pretty much the legislation had changed, and the law was that they weren't allowing these type of events. Councils become very aware of it, but we managed to we found a little loophole where we put a fashion show on, which effectively ran for about 20 minutes, and then we did the after party. So we managed to get the later licenses and stuff. And actually, John Digweed, he was the first DJ that played for one of our outside events, for our first event. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
And you're making money through ticket sales and just selling.
Yeah, so ticket sales and stuff. So yeah, we sort of cut a deal with the venues and stuff, and yeah, but mainly and actually, I have to say that probably we could have done a little bit better out of it, but we really stuck to our guns in putting the amount of production that we did into it, DJs and stuff. You know, bringing DJs like, you know, Boy George, and we had Mixmag. Anyone that's a DJ will know what Mixmag is. They brought some tour nights in, and we had the guys down from Gatecrasher. So we did some pretty big stuff back in the day. Carl Cox played for us.
Cool.
And actually, so it was pretty big deal back in the 90s, particularly for our area, South Coast. Yeah.
Did you do any gigs back in Bournemouth?
I mean, apart from the Sitting Pretty stuff, I did a couple of events which I did separate to that. We did a couple down in Bournemouth. One with Boy George, which was particularly really good. So yeah, I mean
Russell, Russell,
Dog
Russell.
Dog Russell.
Dogging Russell.
Dogging Russell, the COVID, is he's from
my
Bournemouth.
hometown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Okay,
So
there we go. So yeah, if
Okay.
you know clubs, if you name clubs, I might.
Okay,
even
so
know them.
obviously we used to go to Slinky quite a lot, which was in
Slinky,
Christchurch and stuff. And then
I've got a Slinky.
You've got a Slinky. Haven't
Yeah, I got a Slinky at home.
Some people are a bit like Slinkies. They don't do very much, but they do put a smile on your face
I thought
when
you
you push
just
them
meant
downstairs.
they just fall down the stairs really well.
The problem with a Slinky I've got is I live in a ground floor apartment.
So you're limited with your options.
It's one of the worst presents I ever got my kids. They're like,
Guys,
what do they do with it? I'm like, it's a Slinky. You put it down the stairs. Like that, Dad, we don't have any stairs.
Quality.
Oh well.
Quality.
So Slinky in Bournemouth, never
Slinky,
been
and
there.
then the Manor as well. The Manor.
Oh,
Do you remember the Manor?
Yeah.
So
well, I remember the Manor existed.
So that was Ringwood. Actually, it was a really good time for me, and it really, I made so many contacts, and actually, funny enough, I made contacts that I've used over here. Well, I'm still using over here when we've done events and stuff. So yeah, that part of my life I really.
So that
enjoyed.
was the 90s, and then
That was the
the
90s.
and then the 2000s.
Yeah, so during 2000s, I mean, we kept the events running and stuff, and then.
Were you were you changing with the music? Because obviously music through that time had changed.
Yeah.
I mean, the 90s was when I first got really, because I was a 90s music lover.
Yeah.
Not big on the 80s, unlike
Yeah.
Dog Russell.
I'm both.
But I'm more of a 90s kind of guy. So when you were playing as a DJ, and I know as a very limited event DJ, as I call myself, not a club DJ, you have to change with the time.
For sure.
So what were you changing with over the time?
I mean, effectively, when we started the first few years with Sitting Pretty, I guess we were targeting what was classed then as the more underground DJs. Particularly with the likes of John Digweed and people. We had some good American guests that came along, Chris Fortier, and we were doing like the Loved Up Twins, and they weren't really in the sort of the commercial. It wasn't really the commercial element. Sitting Pretty, we've always tried to steer away a little bit from that. But I guess as we moved through the 90s, for instance, we went through a few years where, the trance scene, that sort of euphoric side came through, and we moved with that, and brought in the DJs as well that would play that type of stuff. We've always tried to. I think that's why we lasted 20 years, to be quite honest. Is we always tried to keep it as fresh as we could. Take things in a slightly different direction. Big thing for us was we used to theme our parties. So, for instance, one of the events that we did well before anyone else had done it, we did a sort of a circus-themed event where we actually we went in literally with engineers to a venue. The venue on the pier had fixings attached to all their rafters and stuff, so we could have trapeze artists, and we had free-flying people. Actually, the club that we used, which was then called Rutherford's, which was on the pier, that was a bit of a sort of what we call a Sharon and Tracy sort of club for its midweeks, playing pretty much everything across the board from R&B through to house, some oldies and so on. I think you occasionally got the slow dance at the end and stuff, but whatever. But that was the sort of first venue that we sort of really called our home, because we had that for a number of years, and the venue held about 1,200 people. For our events, we were sort of filling it out with about 1,500. We were squeezing them in.
Wow.
Yeah, we were just, yeah.
And have you always done kind of club DJing? Have you done wedding DJing and that horrible stuff that scumbags have to do?
I mean, of course, being a DJ, I think I've done more stuff like that since I've been out here. When I moved to Samui, I took a job with Nicky Beach.
Before you go on to that, so what? So you said you had friends in Samui, so you just came on holiday, and then what got you got you to stay?
Okay, so this was a really weird one. It all happened.
What was her name?
Do you know what? I can't remember.
His.
We're open here. We don't mind.
It might have been. It all happened by accident. Okay, so I guess my.
So it's a he.
So after I sold the record shop back in the UK, when vinyl started to take a big dive bomb, me and my mate decided that we were going to get out. Leo, he's my business partner. We decided we were going to get out, really just stick with. And I went back to find a normal job, and I've done various things alongside. But I've always had the music thing in the background, but I've always done a load of things alongside it. And I became a financial advisor. Actually, I did that for nearly 10 years.
Oh wow.
Which is boring as shit, but actually the money's quite good. So and I quite enjoyed it, because you're actually a lot of the time you're helping people out financially with issues, getting them mortgages and commercial loans and bits and pieces like that. And it was okay, and it served its purpose for that. Run alongside, allowed me to do my DJing gigs, but I still had a reasonable income that was coming from somewhere else. I was married at the time. I did get divorced later, but I was married at the time, so it sort of fitted my lifestyle. And then, actually, it was not long after my divorce, a really close mate of mine who unfortunately battled cancer, and we sort of saw him out on his last days. And he was the one that said to me, listen, I'd just come back from a holiday in Thailand, and he's like, just get your ass back out there. What you got to lose is you got your house here, you got no kids. So that's what I did. And I went back, and I became quite friendly with another guy. He was a pretty big DJ in Samui, Antonio Atkinson. He was the resident at Nicky Beach. And it was just out of the blue. He called me one day. They had a couple of resident DJs. Anthony was sick. The other DJ couldn't cover. And he said, listen, mate, I'm desperate. It's high season. I need someone to go and cover the club. And I said, yeah, sure, I'll go down and play. Sort of turned up, met the boss there. And it was quite weird to me because, he said, I'll get yourself set up. And he said, I hope you have a good day today because we've got all the bosses in. And it was actually their Nicky Beach sort of general, their upper management conference. They have them at various locations.
Right.
It happened to be at Nicky Beach that day. And then, lo and behold, I went and did my thing. Nicky Beach is a funny beast. It's a big sort of party beach club. But this was a sort of more midweek. I went in there and played a slightly more chilled vibe. I think my opening track was like a Marvin Gaye track. I remember that. And we just sort of built the day rather than have this sort of pounding 128 BPM from the moment the DJ goes on. And I built quite a nice set. I played for about 6 or 7 hours. And then when I came off, the boss called me over and he was like, really pleased with the set. We think this is really cool. We really want to try and take the club into this bit more of this direction, particularly during our midweek sets and stuff. Basically offered me a job.
Sweet.
Now, obviously, the salaries are completely different to what I was earning back in the UK. And then, I said to him, I need to think about it. Went back, and that was at the time where, as I say, my pal, unfortunately, Tony, he was on his last legs and on his way out. But we had various conversations in those sort of final couple of weeks, and he was like, "What are you doing? You just need to go and do what I guess." He said, "Well, I was born to do." I'm not sure about that, but do what I really love.
What you
and
enjoy.
what I really love was the music. I took the chance and rented my house out, and that's it. I ended up in Samui, and I met some great people there. There's some really cool people in Samui, and actually initially. I think when you adjust anywhere, sometimes it can always, particularly on a DJ front, and Jay, you've probably experienced this, is that it can be there's a bit of snobbery that goes on, and
masses.
Yeah, and there's people that they don't. It's like, what are you doing coming into my territory and doing this and that, but slowly but surely I sort of worked my way in, and I think they saw that actually it's like, oh, he actually can DJ.
Yeah,
he wasn't lying.
Yeah.
And things went from there. So Samui was a good experience for me. 3 years there. Nearly 2 with Nicky Beach as resident DJ. Then I sort of got more involved with them on the as sort of music director side as well. So yeah, it was really cool. It's cool.
And so when did you go to Samui? Did you say it was 6 years ago, roughly?
So 8 years ago, nearly 9 years ago now.
Wow. Okay, far out. So 3 years in Samui.
Yeah.
And then moved to Phuket.
Yeah. So back into 2000. No, beg your pardon. It was back into 2012 is when I moved to Samui.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And then 3 years there, and then it sort of got to the stage where I sort of outgrown it a little bit, I guess, and was looking for, I don't know, a little bit more civilization. Island life is great.
It's got its limits.
I think everybody knows your business, though, huh? Yeah. Everyone's
So, Samui's...
I saw you blow your nose last night.
Exactly, yeah.
Hey?
Samui's a lot smaller. I just want to... The DJ thing's really interesting. I remember when I first came out here. I mean, I was never a club... I've done one club night in my life.
And how did that go, Jay?
Awful. It's
only been one night.
I was warming up for Judge Jules.
That tells a story.
Yeah.
I was warming up for Judge Jules.
Oh, okay.
And I say warming up, I was the first on in the set of the night. So I was at the club, so no one's there. So I'm the opening act, right? So terrible. So no one's in the club. I've never club DJ'd in my life. I never wanted to be a club DJ. I was always much more of a sunset or an event DJ, that kind of stuff. That's always what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Was just set the tone, set the music, and that's it. I wasn't into beat matching at the time or anything like that.
Okay.
So some guy said, look, come and just play. Once you've played, you'll enjoy it, you'll love it, and then, whatever.
About that.
Where was this?
This was in Sound down in Patong.
Okay.
It was before it became famous. Now it's closed down. It was on the top floor.
I know it. Yeah.
On
Did
John
they
Salon.
do Me I'm Famous? That one.
Yes.
Johnstone one, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Johnston one. So
Yeah.
but you had to get the elevator up, so you could only get 4
Yeah.
people came up at a
I-
time.
I've been up there. Yeah.
Which made it even harder as the opening act. So one person walks in. But what I didn't realise was there's a light switchboard right by where I was DJing. I had my CDs ready to go, and I'd lent my CDs against the light board switches. All of a sudden, security about 5 minutes later came running up, screaming at me that I'd knocked off all the lights for the entire downstairs. Everyone thought the club was shut.
Oh.
So that was a start. And then, I DJ'd for about 2 hours to nobody.
Okay.
And then hung around for 5, 6, 7 hours waiting for Judge Jules to come on, because I then had to introduce him because I was the only one that could talk on the microphone.
Okay.
So that was my highlight of club, and I never did it again.
More than 10 years ago, because I remember it was probably when I don't think Judge Jules has been back again, but I saw him at
It
Seduction.
was a long time ago, yeah. It was a long time ago. But yeah, no, I always then just went...
The judge won't budge.
Yeah. But do you know the one thing that really impressed me at the time was he had 3 CDJs on him, and I was like, hey, why do you need 3? I can only handle 2.
Yeah.
And he's got 3
Yeah.
on the go. And to me,
Yeah.
that was like, and I wasn't, like I said, I'm not technically, I don't think I'm a great DJ, but I know music and I know what can get a party going.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'm technically that good at DJing.
Is that just Rihanna or?
I generally go for Black Eyed Peas.
Black Eyed Peas. Oh,
I've
yeah,
got
of course,
feeling.
yeah, of course.
That's the go-to song, really.
Yeah, you got any Stone Roses?
So, no Stone Roses.
Yeah.
But
Sorry,
I mean,
Steve.
I was making a lot of money through wedding DJ. I mean, at the
Yeah.
time, wedding was paying. I mean, one wedding would pay me 40 grand a night.
Wow.
And it
Yeah.
was ridiculous,
Yeah.
and there was only 2 or 3 of us. But going back to the snobbery, it is interesting because I started getting a bit snobbish when Phuket got a bit busier with DJs, and they were taking
for the events, the wedding events.
they were taking
and
the
stuff,
wedding
yeah.
events away from me, because
Yeah.
that was where I was making
Yeah.
all my money.
Same
Yeah.
with the MC work.
Yeah.
Exactly
Yeah.
the same with MC
Yeah.
and that sort of stuff. So why did you wanted to leave Samui and come to another island? Did you?
No, actually, no. That was a funny thing. So, sort of just with regards to that story, Dream Beach Club, which was previously Nicky Beach,
yeah.
open Nicky Beach. So, effectively, I finished my contract with Nicky's. Wanted to take a little bit of a break. The role there had increased quite dramatically. So, initially, when I was contracted to do 5 days a week, then we got involved doing 7 days a week, and then they were building Phuket. And so, cut a long story short, the owner was English. I think the American team, he's fairly, like English people. We can be that, can't we? He's a bit I almost said the word. But
You can say it, because I've got my timer on, so I can go back and edit. You can
It's
use
so-
it.
okay, no, I'm not going to say
COVID-ish.
it, but I'm going to say that he's a fairly difficult character. And
You can say Charlie Uniform November Tango.
or see you next Tuesday.
Or see all that.
Or you could just say, and I'll just go back and edit it.
Okay, all right, okay. Anyway, so I think they found him really difficult to deal with. And all of a sudden, from music director position, the GM there, I got on really well with. Massive respect to this guy, Bruce Hanahan. He's actually now taken over the new role as GM at Cafe Del Mar in Phuket. This season, he's
cool.
just come on board.
Great timing.
Yeah. Basically, we sat down and he said, listen, I find this guy really difficult to deal with. And, you seem to, because you're English, you seem to have this banter thing going on. And, he seems to have taken to you, because we met several times at Nicky's in Samui prior to him opening Phuket. So then when I left Nicky's, obviously Phuket had been running. I've been backwards and forwards a few times, did a couple of bits here, DJ'd at the opening party for Nicky's and stuff in Phuket. Then I went off to do my own thing for a while, and then just out of the blue, the owner called me. It was quite weird, actually. Called me, and he's like, we're changing the brand. We've got a new 5-star hotel that's opening, and I want you involved. Come and work for me, which was quite weird. And it was like, well, okay, well, at the time I was back in Europe, just having a nice time, just taking a bit of time out. And he was like, no, you need to. I need to get you out to Singapore next week. I'm going to get my PO and you can book the flights, and the rest was history. I then Singapore, struck a deal with them, went in under the Dream brand after they sort of changed from Nicky's. I think with that, there's a lot of rumour and speculation that goes on with that. But at the time, it was just purely that the 5-star hotel they were building was going to be the first Nikki Beach hotel.
Yeah.
5-star resort. And Nikki's, at a point down the line, after a fair bit of construction and all the rest that had been done, decided that it wasn't right for them and they were going to pull out. And rightly or wrongly, the owner then decided that he obviously had to find a new brand for the hotel. And it made sense, because of the location of the hotel, it made sense at the time to potentially change the beach club brand to match. So you've got a hotel which didn't have beachfront, and then
You've got the beachfront club,
moving those guests down to there. So
because otherwise the hotel is just another hotel.
Yeah, it's just in the middle of nowhere with a nice pool, but where's the beach? People come to Thailand for the beach, huh? So I came in as entertainment director for them on a short-term contract initially, and I sort of worked with. There was a number of upper management changes above me. I think they went through 5 GMs while I was there. They just couldn't seem to, at the beach club, they couldn't seem to find the right person and so on. I sort of came, my situation changed. I came to the end of my contract, came out in April. So my was really pre-opening and set up, so putting all the events together with the intention for potentially somebody else to take it over and deal with it, which I did. And then, blow me.
Who did?
I knew we'd get to that eventually.
Always about sex with you, isn't it?
You love that level, don't you? And then they called me up just out of the blue, and I was on holiday. Where was I? I wasn't on holiday, but I was gigging actually. I was in Kiev in Ukraine.
As you do.
And owner called me and he's like, "Listen, I know we've had a few issues and blah blah blah, but we can't find a GM. We've been thinking about it. We've decided that we'd like to bring you back. Can you fly to Singapore again next week?" I was like, "Oh, this is repeating itself." Yeah. So that's what I did. And then that was in July 2016. I took over as GM at the beach club, which was.
Did you really want that role, or was it a case of, do you know what?
It's come up.
It's come up. I still love DJing, but I should really move on and. Because I did exactly. I got offered a GM role at a beach club, and I took it thinking it's the right thing to do. Yeah. And actually, looking back on it, I thought it was never the right thing to do.
I've always been one of those people that doesn't tend to shy away from a challenge. So I had gone through 6 months of dream opening and watched the various GMs struggle and make mistakes and actually do stuff that I wouldn't have done. And on occasion I'd voice my opinions, which, wasn't always the right thing to do. But, I wanted to take it up. I mean, it took me a little bit of time to think about it, but I was like, hang on, I've got a good feeling that I can actually turn that around. And we did. I mean, we had, at the time when I first took over, the first year that I took over, we had a really, really good year. Back then, though, Cafe Del Mar wasn't open. There wasn't quite so much on the market. Catch had moved location, so there was a little bit of uncertainty with them. And that was it. So lasted 3 years, which was more than the other 5 before me. So
what are you? Because we're getting close. So what are you doing right now?
So I resigned. Actually, what I did was I resigned my position in March 2019. Just decided that, I'd done 3 years with the company, and then plus what I'd done as entertainment director. And it was just time for me to go and, again, find a new challenge. I love stuff that I can work with and build on, but we'd sort of reached the point there, and probably you guys know as well, I think there'd been a sort of shift in tourism and so on in Phuket.
Sure.
Sometimes I get a little bit of itchy feet, and I decided that I wanted to, again, do something for myself again. Because when I do stuff, I tend to put my heart and soul in it. I was working stupid hours, really. And then so wanted to go back and do the music thing. I love creating events. So set up a company called Lost in Paradise Events. We did a few bits and pieces, but again, that's another thing. You need to be here for a long time. There's a lot of competition. We were sort of pushing along that side. And then alongside that, I just took time out. I did a bit of travelling again. I did Bali. I just tried to refresh myself a little bit. And then just back into the music. So back into the studio, working hard on that.
Is this where the Sons of David
came
about?
Sons of David, yeah. So, I mean, I've sort of always dabbled with the studio stuff. But actually having the time to really commit to it, because that's what you need. You need time. You probably know creativity is not something you can get up on a Monday morning at 9 o'clock and just produce.
Yeah.
It's something, it's a feeling. You know, if you're too tired, you don't want to do it. But you might wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and be inspired and you want to do some stuff. And that's what I chose to do. Got back into the studio. We finished. I've got six or seven tracks out now, which are now out, and the people can find them on my Soundcloud and stuff.
Which is
DJ Sons of David.
There you go.
So just been enjoying that bit really.
And we introduced. I'm a good speaker, me. We've had a chat. We've had a chat with old Foxy, who you are her mentor.
Foxy, yeah. So that's a funny story as well. I met Darren when she was we hired her as a dancer at the Beach Club, and she was very quiet. Out of all the dancers we had, Russian. I actually didn't.
Did they slow down a little bit after a while, or was it always going so fast?
What?
That is a quality joke. Thank you very much. I'll be here all week.
Oh, God.
And she was quite quiet. But it wasn't until I actually left Dream, we had a few friends in common and stuff, started to hang out a little bit. And actually...
but you don't poke the payroll, so...
Her English was... I was actually really surprised how actually well she does speak English, but she kept it quite... hidden, if you like. Anyway, we started to hang out a little bit more. She's friends with Christine as well. And then, lo and behold, we took her to a karaoke night. And
blasted. And that was it. She opened her lungs up.
She just blasted away, yeah. And I knew that she did done some... She was like involved in a rock band.
Yeah.
Like quite a reasonable, successful inside Russia, her rock band. And I guess when we started to hang out and I'd sort of give her some music and stuff. It was the first time that she'd really listened to sort of like deep house or sort of like progressive house, techno, that sort of stuff. Because she'd been sort of like more rock chicky, I guess, coming into the Beach Club and dancing to stuff as well. She got introduced to it that way. But yeah, we've been doing some stuff in the studio. She's got an amazing vocal. Now I'm trying to ramp it up for her as well, because if I'm not producing enough of my own stuff that she needs to work on, I've now got other producers that are now, they've heard her and they want to do some stuff with some big labels as well. One of my pals, Nick Hussey, he does a lot of stuff for Defected. He's also a ghost producer for a lot of DJs, because that goes on where DJs get records produced under their name, but it's actually been done by somebody else and so on. So he's interested in doing some stuff with her. He's been in lockdown in Bali and he's sending some stuff over. So yeah, that side's really cool. And we did this little thing a while ago where we've been taking the live element along with the DJing. So when I DJ, she sings live over some of the tracks and stuff.
Well, that's like, because both of us was watching your live stream the other week, last week I think it was, or whenever, and I think it was the first time we both heard her sing over the top of one of you DJing.
So credit to her. Like, the girl sort of locked herself away for a few days. She wrote that vocal. She worked that harmony, and I'd only heard it probably a few weeks before that.
Right.
So we had the bass track, and then I heard it a few weeks before that. She's really starting to shine on that.
So is that cool. Something you're going to do more of? If we can get out of this, the total lockdown, obviously, going around and doing some more live events.
We were actually due to go to Vietnam just 2 days prior to the lockdown. We had a little mini tour lined up. We were over there for 2 weeks. Had 4 or 5 gigs slotted in, and obviously the rug just got pulled. So COVID came along, and that was that. So,
but now you're doing more your live streaming and your live parties. So
live streaming is like a big thing at the moment. All the DJs are obviously jumping on that. I've done the same at home and converted the studio, so we've got a full live stream set up. Darren's been doing some stuff. I do a weekly show on a radio station which is called Pandemic FM. That was actually, the name came before the disease, if you like. So
Good idea.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's actually hosted by one of my mates who I used to work with. He's one of the DJs at Nicky Beach previously, Bradley Hart. So he started this channel initially as a radio, but we've very quickly moved into live streaming. So I do a show every Thursday, which is Afro Vibes. It's all based around Afro house music, Afro tech, which is another subgenre, if you like. Doing that. Darren's doing a show on there where she does a progressive side. So yeah, and that's going really well. 10,000 listeners last week.
Sweet.
That's brilliant.
And every week it's growing. I mean, we're now, it was pretty much started, with nothing behind it. We're now putting a little bit of money in, and we're trying to sort of push the promotion side of that, which will be good. And then I've just hooked up with my old promotion back in the UK, Sitting Pretty. I've dusted off my ex-partner, business partner, and he's been doing a couple of live streams, and he now wants to sort of push that on. So we're back on that this Sunday, Bank Holiday Sunday. I'll be doing a live stream from Thai time to 2 till 3:30. So I'm opening the first hour and a half because it's a UK program.
Sadly, this doesn't come out till Tuesday.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you've missed it.
What am I doing here? I thought it was to promote stuff.
Well,
What do you mean? We're interested in you.
Yeah.
Not
Really?
just about, can you not promote another one?
Yeah,
And
I
to
know,
be
guys,
fair,
but
Russell,
from
to be fair-
my perspective, I really just want to
Yeah, but
promote
to be
myself.
fair, if you want to promote yourself, you just spent 40 minutes waffling and finally fucking got to it.
We will put a message out on our
Yeah.
Facebook page that you're live this Sunday, and then you can listen to you on Tuesday talk about being live on Sunday. So how was your gig on Sunday?
yeah, it was good. Yeah, loads
It's one of the best sets you've ever done in my mind. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
It was
So-
fantastic.
Yeah, so that's good.
So what is it? So the plan is now moving forward just to do more live sets, more production. I mean, obviously with this whole virus thing.
I mean, assuming the virus is gone and we're back to quote normal, what's the next step?
Yeah, actually, I've got a few things that are bubbling away. Actually, not in Thailand. So it may mean at some point later on this year, if things do open up, I'll be maybe leaving these fair shores.
Is that because you've had enough here, or just the opportunities are coming overseas?
No, just I think the as I said, I love a challenge. Something's been sort of dangled towards me, and it's like I might go and do this.
Are you able to share any sort of details?
It's in Vietnam.
Okay.
It's in Vietnam,
Which is the buzz place, and it is the
Yeah.
buzz place to be.
Yeah, and I think we've got a couple of mates in common, Neil and Kat and stuff, and those guys have been over there sort of doing bits and pieces for a while, and I've got a really good feeling about that. I've had a great time in Thailand, and I've learnt so much about myself, about from the job aspect of what I've done and so on. It's been a real great experience. I think just for me, it's just time to go and find that next thing. And it's looking like Vietnam may well be it. So
they've done so well during this pandemic, and they're opening up now. I mean, I've got friends that got hotels over there. They all are loving it over there.
Yeah.
They said it's a great place to be.
Yeah.
And I really think it is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dogs over there.
Yeah.
You could have like a training centre and a cafe at the same time.
There is a load of dogs.
Is that a terrible joke? It is a terrible joke. Don't eat dogs. Don't eat dogs.
No, because I've got a few dogs.
Oh, would you? Hey, that's the thing. You have. You're.
I have a pack.
Yeah.
Now, officially, I have a pack.
You did.
What is the minimum number for a pack?
I don't
Russell,
know,
you
to be
must know
honest.
this.
It's a good question.
Huh?
good
You
question.
don't know. You're supposed to be like a dog man.
I would probably go
You're like Crocodile Dundee of dogs. And like,
that's not a knife.
Crocodile
That's not a
Dundee used
lead.
to beat people up.
that's not a lead.
Yeah.
What is the number of dogs that creates a pack?
Don't know.
Maybe 3 or more.
I would say 3 or more.
Anyone can call in with the answer. That'd be good.
Yeah, absolutely. On
The number.
next
The number is.
Tuesday.
Hang on. Let me just get Jason.
It's everywhere. But no, you were on a good note, because you're a shitbag normal, but on the positive note, you did rescue a load of doggies, didn't you? You were very nice over this pandemic.
So I initially rescued 2 in Samui, which came with me, They're my kids, basically, which is cool. I don't have to pay school fees or anything. I just have to feed them a couple of times a day, make sure they got fresh water. And then where I walk them, which is not too far from my place, which is up by the reservoir in Manic, near Manic, I've been visiting there twice a day, taking my dogs, and I'd noticed there was a 4 pups that had been left at one of the salas, these new viewpoint salas, looking out into a dirty
Sand
crater. The video that you made it look like it was out of space or something.
Yeah.
So, and I was feeding them for sort of like 4 or 5 days. They were sort of getting a bit dirtier and a bit grubbier, and then I don't know why I went up there one evening and I was like, right, chuck them in the car. So we put them all in the car and took them back to the house with the intention of getting them to the vet for worming and vaccinations and making sure that everything was up to date and so on. And then they locked everything down.
You're stuck with them.
So I'm stuck with them, yeah. But if anyone's out there that is looking to adopt, get in contact with the guys and I'll be happy to pass the photos because really I love
post the photos with the link.
Yeah, I love the dogs, but 6 is just a little bit too much for me to handle. Well, we have the space at the moment, but if I'm moving on later in the year, it's going to be a bit.
Well, you don't want to be a crazy dog man, do you? I mean, you don't know. That's a thing. I mean, we know crazy beagle people, and we know, you don't want to become one of them.
Oh, Natasha.
Yeah.
Did I say that live? Sorry, did I say that live on air?
She doesn't listen. It's all right.
Natasha, I love you, really.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Not when she's had more than 1 bottle of wine.
Which is pretty much all the time.
Yeah, breakfast.
So if you get it for about 8:45, you're all right. Anything after that, you're done. All right, Mr. Russell. Well, look, we're getting to the end now. So look, thank you very much for coming in. We will promote all your stuff. And sorry we can't promote this or last Sunday's event.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool.
It was good. It was the best live streaming broadcast I've ever heard.
That we're going to listen to.
Yeah.
That we're going to listen to. That sounds great. Yeah. Excellent, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being on the podcast, my friend.
Lovely. Thanks,
buddy.
guys.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Russ.
Bye.
Jay.
Thanks, Dog Russell.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I like Russell.
I like you too, Jay.
Not you, Russell, silly. Not Dog Russell. I like DJ Russell.
Jeez.
He's nice.
No, it's cool. And
Interesting.
Again, interesting story. So obviously I'm kind of biased because he comes from Bournemouth. So
I know, but it was good. I didn't know so much about all the club scene and stuff that he was doing. I mean, I've known him for a few years since he's been here as working at Dream and being a DJ, but I didn't realise.
Well, I knew him as working for Dream. I didn't know he was a DJ. So when seeing him doing that now, my take was, well, that's just, he's following his passion, which is great, and crack on with it. He's obviously very good at it. So one of my questions for today, which I didn't even get to ask because there was no point because he went straight into it, was that he had that plethora, another big word for you, of background with...
I like plethora. I use
it's
plethora a lot.
It's a good word all the time.
Can't spell it. P-L-E-F-O.
P-L-E-F-O. Yeah, whatever.
Ruh.
But yeah, working in all... that's his background. And I've the manor I've been to, I don't remember much of it because I was wasted at the time, but...
Don't drink, kids, and don't do drugs. Very bad.
Unless you really want to, in which case, crack on.
Absolutely, do it. No, interesting guy. I like him, and good luck to him, and good luck because we've already talked to Foxy, Darian Fox, and good luck to both of them. I hope that kind of stuff. I really hope people do well with that.
Yeah, and that's 2 weeks on the bounce that we've had people come in for the podcast, and again, it is a weird moment with this whole sort of virus bullshit and everyone trying to plan for the future but can't make any plans for the future. But the last 2 weeks now, we've had people that have got things. But there's a carrot there, potentially, that they're jumping towards, just waiting to see if things sort of play out.
Maybe we should follow up on some of our old people. Actually, talking about our old people, our first...
Leave Steve out of it. He's not that old.
Which Steve we talking about?
Well, I wasn't going to mention that. I thought I'd just leave them scratching their head.
We should mention that happy birthday to Colonel, who was podcast number, I can't remember.
Happy birthday, Colonel.
It was his birthday. We went to his house. But
good.
We were social distancing at his house.
We did.
No, it was very nice. It was a lovely... I enjoyed the smoked haddock pate that your missus made.
She's a good chef.
Well, chopping up some smoked haddock and
smashing it with a fork.
Yeah, isn't exactly, yeah. But no, it was very nice. We had a lovely time. Thank you very much for that birthday party. And if you'd like to invite Russ and I to other more birthday parties, then please do.
We are available for birthday parties, especially if there's cupcakes. And if you want cupcakes, speak to Joe.
No, don't speak to Right Said Fred, because we've been trying to get her on a podcast and she doesn't want to come on.
Well, she's rubbish. We don't know her.
But if you do
her
want
cakes are good though.
cakes, so if you want some little birthday cakes, go to Is it Sprinkles Phuket? Something like that. Yeah, I should have checked that out.
Probably should have checked that out before we said.
I think
anything.
it's Sprinkles Phuket. Anyway, just tap us up. We'll find it anyway.
Yeah.
No.
Who have we got next week?
Next week we've got a friend of mine called Queenie.
Oh, of course.
who
Yeah, you
is-
mentioned this before.
she's a lovely. She's mental. She's nuts.
So she'll fit right in.
She'll fit right in. She's a very, very cool chick. She's well, we'll find out when we interview her.
Super.
But no, she's a single mum, a chef. She's a workout queen and proper workout as well. None of this.
Your wheelhouse.
None of this kind of just do stretching yoga and just being
So
all
do you want me
zen.
to, just on that note, do you want me to hold off on organising this date for you, or do you want to?
No, we should mention this. No, should we mention? No, Russell's trying to organise a date for me, which is very nice.
And I think we can all agree.
I need one.
Yes.
Well, since I've come off Tinder, things have dry. Then again, even when I was on Tinder, things was very dry. Tinder's a horrible place.
See, I missed out the whole Tinder thing.
Oh, well, I think Tinder was probably good years ago. I refused to join, and then I don't know, middle of last year I might have joined for a bit. It's just full of weirdos and freaks, including me.
And what did you expect?
I haven't met anyone through Tinder, so I'm not on Tinder anymore. So, girls, if you need me, just come to
Hit
Facebook.
me up.
So, yeah, exciting. Like us on Facebook. Like us on Instagram. We're Phuket Podcast on Instagram. We're Phuket Podcast on Twitter. Our website is phuketpodcast.com. And we're Jay Leshark and Friends on Facebook because I haven't decided to buy Phuket Podcast. Well, I didn't buy it. Why are you looking at me weirdly?
I'm just falling asleep.
All right, fair enough. Probably everyone else is right now. Thanks, Russell.
Cheers, buddy.
Bye.
Bye.